Let's get started with love manipulation. Another one of the oldest and most primal abilities to date that allows you to manipulate the affection, connection, and direction of most sentient creatures. Users of Amokinesis can create, shape, manipulate, and sense all the aspects relating to love within any given system that exists and will exist. Now, we all know what love is. And if you don't, I feel pretty sorry for you because love is awesome, but it's also extremely dangerous. But for you poor souls who don't know what love is an intense feeling of deep affection which can lead to a great interest and or pleasure in something. I had to simplify that definition because the concept of love is extremely subjective, like most things that humans get their hands on. And to each individual, it really does mean different things. But for the sake of this video and the shay's sanity, I'll try to talk about emotional love because all other forms of love kind of derive from that. But what does this mean as a superpower? Well, a user of this ability can control and manipulate the love of themselves, people, animals, and other creatures, whether it's by increasing, decreasing, generating, or otherwise channeling love into or out of a target. They can even manifest the emotional energy on a physical level of a sort, allowing love to literally affect the world, the physical world. So obviously there's a lot to get into on this video, and silly puns aside, I actually love that I'm able to cover this power. But before we proceed, you guys need to understand that my intense affection for what I do is great and all, but it really ain't enough. Even though there are some of you who like what I do, and there's some of those who haven't heard about your boy yet. So I'm gonna ask those of you who haven't to do me a favor. Let me be your love drug and hit that like and subscribe button. I mean, it's red like a heart for a reason, right? Right? But if you want to ignore that passion, then at least hit that share button so that others can feel the waves of empathy and care that I put into collecting this information for you guys. But if you're just here for the applications, associations, and users of this power, then skip ahead to this time. But if you want to know what love is, then stick with me through the whole video and see what I have in store for you guys. The history behind love is a tale as old as time. And no, that wasn't ripped from Beauty and the Beast, even though it was. I really mean that because, well, think about it. We all know from a logical and scientific perspective that sentient organisms are a mass of flesh, fluids, bioelectricity, and hormones. And in fact, with hormones existing within sentient creatures, since our, I guess you can say inception, they are the #1 cause of how and why we feel anything towards, well, anything. In fact, that's the basis of all other forms of love that we have, terms for today. And while that knowledge might be a relatively new discovery, in modern times, in tales of mythology and legends of old, love is treated as a primordial force often associated with sex and is such a staple in world or mythological history, whatever you want to call it, that even deities of their respective pantheons are at the mercy of love, which makes entities of love and lust and fertility in some cases one of the most powerful, if not some of the most powerful and feared beings in any pantheon that exists. Whether it's Aphrodite, a Greek being that's often considered to be a primordial that was believed to be born powerful and separate of the other Olympians. The voodoo pantheon has numerous examples, but we'll just stick with Baron Samedi, who was the Loa of the dead, sex, and resurrection. And oftentimes than not, he was considered a liminal being, which means he walked between both worlds. Heck, you even have Freya, the Norse Germanic goddess of love, sex, beauty, and magic, who was, of course, well feared and respected within her pantheon. Even a certain Judeo-Christian being whose main weapon is the bottomless love and forgiveness that they have for their creations exists within this domain. In fact, this domain is so large and powerful that multiple beings within the same pantheon tapped into its metaphorical power, if you will, and were oftentimes seen as eternal or inevitable. Okay, now let's get the basic stuff out the way. Yes, love is an emotion. Yes, like stated earlier, it's caused by hormones and or pheromones, which in layman's terms are chemicals released into the body of an organism due to what they perceive or experience. But did you wonderful nerd and nerdettes know that there are different types of love? That's right, thanks to the Greeks, we have at least 4 categories of love that have remained staples throughout human existence, no matter what kind of love it is. Lust, parental love, love of money, love for the environment, No matter what it is, they will fit into these 4 spots or categories. And these aren't in any kind of order, I'm just listing them out. But anyway, the first we can call philia love, which is described as the type of love found in strong friendships or extremely close non-romantic bonds. In these kind of relationships, affection and support are the name of the game, as well as a sense of equality between each party. I guess that explains why the city of Philadelphia is dubbed the city of brotherly love. Your results may vary on that. Storge love describes the type of love found in instinctual or familial relationships. Storge love involves empathy, genuine affection, as well as compassion. So, once one gets married or enters into the, metaphorical equivalent of a marriage, they graduate from just lovers and or friends and become more of a family. This is the type of love that you'll normally find in the Fast and Furious movie. This is the kind of love that helps build communities and later societies. A love that leads those involved towards a goal. Eros love, or Eros love, depending on how you want to pronounce it, describes the kind of love found in romantic relationships. That's where the word erotic loosely comes from. Relationships with Eros or Eros love contain passion and intimacy and the overall feeling of being in love. And it's probably the first type of love that comes to mind when one thinks of their partner. And last, but certainly not least, is what I remember my dad preaching about in church, called agape love. This is the kind of love that perhaps is the most important in any relationship, as it describes a selfless, unconditional love comparable to the kind of love that a supreme being or ultimate creator would have towards what they care about or are involved in. But why is love so dang important to the world at large, especially as humans? You would think that after all of our time on this planet, we would at least have a better understanding of its purpose, right? And the answer to that is more complicated than you think, but not too complicated, I guess. But to keep it simple so that we can keep this moving, love is a gateway that leads to other concepts such as empathy and understanding at its best, and hate and toxicity at its worst. That's why we have iconic idioms such as love and hate are 2 sides of the same coin, because the opposite of love is indifference, not hate. And to get all symbolic on you guys, that's why the concept of love is conflated with the heart shape, because like I said earlier, the different types of love all lead to a form of cooperation. And just like the human heart leads to cooperation of the bodily parts working in tandem, pumping blood throughout your system. And yes, I know the shape of the heart is modeled after the shape of the female butt, not the actual organ, but you guys get the idea. So moving on. Getting back to love as a superpower in popular culture, love is used as a major plot device, or a MacGuffin if you will. The effects of manipulating love range from making a man weep or sing, bringing inanimate objects to life, giving a hidden power boost to whomever or whatever needs it, or being used as a deus ex machina, something that progresses the plot out of nowhere. The power of love, as it's often called, can be applied in dire situations to make things better. In fact, many Disney movies and other movies that copy the Disney format use this as a solution to nearly everything. You have a curse that needs to be broken? Just love the curse out of them. You have a misbehaving kid who just won't listen to anybody and acts up in school? All you gotta do is love them enough. That's all you need. You want to free a friend from mind control or give them that extra boost that they need to beat the big bad or whoever they're facing up against? The power of friendship or love is what you're looking for. It can even be shown in mediums where the user's strength comes from their bond with an empathic weapon. It can even be used to defy the laws of nature via supernatural healing, resurrection, or reincarnation via a red string of fate kind of deal or something like that. But on the other side of the scale, love, rejected love, scorned love, unfulfilled love, to be a little bit more specific, is the #1 cause of some of the worst supervillains, monsters, and acts of aggression that exist within popular culture. It's pretty common to find a god or goddess of love, sex, or fertility with this ability, as well as the overly positive main character who just wants to make the world a better place. But this ability can also be given to a sinister or evil-leaning character as a way to manipulate and control those around them, or the character of a particular group who represents the heart or compassionate side of the team, like the heart ring from Captain Planet or something like that. Most characters with this power are fueled by or empowered around the theme of innocence, hope, beauty, attraction, and or lust. And because love is more feeling-based than element-based, like the more physical powers that I've done a video on, check those out, the abilities of a user of this power will have a lot to do with their personality and the general tone of a series. But when shown, expect a light-based moveset, lots of bright colors, feminine or flamboyant displays of powers, love potion, or hyper-potent pheromones. This ability can be shown any way you want to, you just need the creativity for it. Common stats for an ability like this are, pretty complicated because love, like I said, is an emotion before anything else. It's not really tangible. But this is what I do, so let me state some things and then explain why I think so, and then you guys can yell at me in the comment section if you think I'm right or wrong. But anyway, let's say, low to high levels of attack power or potency. This is dependent on how strong the target's willpower or apathy is, and in the manner in which the love is going to be applied, whether it's pheromones, an energy beam, whatever. Low to high levels of speed, depending on how strong the target's willpower or apathy is, and the manner in which the love is going to be applied. Low to high levels of defense, depending on how strong the effect is and how the target feels about attacking the love emitter. Unlimited versatility, considering all the items, substances, and ways love can be applied. And, well, I'm pretty sure you guys get the pattern. I hope. If you think of any more categories, just apply that logic to them and boom, you have your newest overpowered character. Now, I want to set the record straight with this ability and state that the list is going to be a little unorthodox. And because anything can represent love, I'll be taking a few liberties with the clips I collect. You don't like it? Complain in the comment section. Now, with the power to manipulate love comes the natural ability to attack with, defend with, and control love for whatever offensive purposes you can think of via love attacks. And before we get too complicated with this power, because we know love is an emotion first, it would make sense that the user would gain a form of enhanced senses via love detection. Now, they can do this by perceiving and eventually interacting with the emotions of others with empathy. The user can also have an innate understanding of the emotion behind the forging of our relationships with love intuition. Or they can just whittle down the target's willpower and straight up have them tell the user how they feel towards the user of this power by inspiring pure, unfiltered passion with subliminal seduction. The next step up from love detection is the ability to create your own source of love completely separate from outside sources with love generation, which will then allow you to manipulate the love levels, if you will, of an outside target with love inducement. And if you want this newly created love to do more than just make a target a bleeding heart, if you will, then give your form a love of mass and density with love solidification. From there, you can give your newly solidified love a definite shape, whether it's simple or complex, via love constructs. And from there, the user can increase the level of love in others, raising the target's affection towards a given subject, and as a result, cause various exploitable vulnerabilities due to the distraction that love creates, via love augmentation. But if you're more on the selfish side of loving, then you can use your own love or outside sources of love to enhance yourself and or others and grant additional benefits or powers via love empowerment. Well, since you're using the increase of love to harm others and or help yourself, higher tier users can amplify the previously mentioned applications and take in outside sources of love in whatever manner they see fit with love absorption. This application can and will double as a form of love negation, as the absorption of love by one target does negate it in the other. That's just basic laws of nature. Or if the absorption of love is a thorough process, good God, and where there was love before, nothing remains now, then it sounds like to me that you have a user of love removal. All of these applications can and will lead to a fate worse than death for most animals, because if you do somehow survive having the love stripped from you, you'll have to wander the rest of your days hoping and praying for some form of outside connection that you know will never come, because you're cursed with unlovability. While the best of the best, those that have mastered this ability, or can at least call themselves master level, can infuse love into the energy their body naturally produces with love aura. And since your life energy is literally love, that should give you and whomever you choose to target a powerful sense of self-acceptance, allowing them to feel so much pure love for themselves that they can't help but want to make themselves, others, and the environment a complete and well-developed being that can then go out and spread that same love elsewhere with self-love inducement. This ability can also give the user a form of unnatural self-confidence, so there you go. But take the previously mentioned ability and project it outward, and the user should be able to control the affection between any number of individuals on any emotional level, allowing them to alter how individuals interact with each other or themselves with relationship manipulation. But like stated earlier, if you're on the more selfish side of love, then with indomitable love, you can focus your affection to levels of obsession and fanaticism, allowing you to surpass whatever limits you or the universe placed on you. And because that idea of love is so important to you, it becomes your only goal or your only reason for being alive. Well, now love giving you the ability to defy logic, why not use it to propel yourself through the air, enhancing whatever locomotive capabilities you possess via. And last but certainly not least, for those of you who like Disney a little too much, nothing wrong with that, but go get a life. The ultimate application of this ability is the power to use your 100% pure, genuine, bona fide affection towards a target. That sounded weird. Anyway, to literally bend the laws of the universe and overcome extremely powerful forces with a kiss of love. This power can reverse or break curses and other esoteric things like magic spells or divine judgment or orders with true love's kiss. And there you have it. Love manipulation in a heart shell. There's no such thing as a heart. Anyway, an extremely powerful ability that has a lot of applications. And to be honest with you, most of the applications listed are pretty much a one-hit KO, especially if you catch the target off guard. You guys ever seen someone or experienced something that made your heart flutter or skip a beat or even just stop? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. But like all abilities, this really isn't all that perfect. Love and hate are two sides of the same coin, like stated earlier. So if one uses this ability, they better hope that the target falls on the love side, because world history has shown us that it really doesn't take too much for love and admiration to turn into hate and condemnation. Emotions really aren't that predictable like we think they are. Targets who possess extremely strong willpower can resist your effects, and those that are just plain apathetic are immune, so good luck with that. You might not be able to generate love, just manipulate outside sources of love, which isn't too bad because you'd be hard-pressed to find anything that doesn't love. I'm pretty sure trees love too. And lastly, the user's own skills, determination, and natural talents will determine how far you go with this ability. And now, with all that out of the way, it's time to place this ability on the scale. Love manipulation is pretty dang useful considering how subjective it is, which makes it even more useful because it's so subjective. But anyway, no more extra filler. On a scale of 1 to 10, the Shea scaling system gives this power a super lovesick 8. Extremely powerful and subjective. So like I said before, that means you can get pretty silly and creative with this. Thanks for watching. You guys think of any more applications for this power? Jot it down in the comment section. Start a discussion. The index doesn't grow without you. I'll be back with an entirely new power, breakdown, and analysis pretty soon. Deuces.